You're hearing me? Oh, perfect. Okay. I'm telling you why I'm making this live stream. I do it 5-6 times a year, so not very often. And usually I do it when there are some big rumors that I shared and some big rumors coming soon. So I want to get your feedback to see what, you know, if I work alone on rumors, so I never get the true feedback. This way you can give me a feedback, ask me some proper questions about something that I might have missed to report, or some I can maybe share additional info. So that's the whole goal of this live stream. How this works is that I will now go quickly for the next 2-3 minutes through the most important rumors and news, so that you know what the main topics are, and then I will take your questions. So you're free to ask me anything, and so let's kick off with a roundup of rumors. The first thing you have to know is that we know more or less exactly what's coming in October, and I'm going to walk you through the list. This is from mirrorlessrumors.com. You can see that, of course, there's the Fujifilm X-M5 that is coming on October the 14th. It will be announced along the 16-55mm lens, the 500mm lens. Then we will have also on the very same day also Venus Optics launching the 55mm, 100mm 2.8 tilt shift full frame lenses. I don't know if it's only C-mount, Sony E-mount or Nikon Z-mount, Leica L-mounts. That's still unclear. October 15, there will be a new DJI Air 3S drone. There's a mistake here. On October 17, we will get the Meike 55mm 1.8 LE and Z mount lens. That's an autofocus lens. Then maybe on October 20 we will get the 135 1.8 full frame lap lens. It's an autofocus lens. And then Insta will also announce the 360 Ace Pro. So that's more or less what's coming in October. That list is probably not complete, but that's coming from reliable sources. There are already also leaks regarding that gear, so I'm pretty certain that's what's coming in October. I didn't hear anything about the Canon, Nikon, Sony announcement in October. I heard about another Sony announcement probably coming in November, and that's going to be one of the things we will discuss later. Moving on to other news. First, a very important update regarding DJI rumor. I told you that the DJI rumor was coming from 2 trusted sources from other manufacturers, which means Nikon, Canon, Sony, Fujifilm, so forth. So inside that Japanese world, they were thinking that DJI might announce a mirrorless camera in September, October. Looks like it's not coming. So the update from those sources is that apparently the info they got might be still right, but the camera is not coming in September or October. There were some other rumors from China saying that Huawei would work along DJI to make that mirrorless camera that allegedly is a sort of full frame mirrorless kind of camera. But I got no update in the meantime, and the sources lead me to believe that this is not going to come anytime soon. Moving on. The L-mount news of the week is that they announced the 18-40mm pancake zoom lens for the S9, which is actually a very nice lens. Then they announced some colored version of the S9, so the white, pink, mint, and so forth. And also that infamous Lumix S5D, which really nobody cares about because it's basically S5 with DJI LiDAR support. So that's all you get with that new S5D that has been announced in Europe and some other regions, but not in the US. The big announcement of the month is coming from Fuji. There will be an X-M5, and you can see the first leaked images here on fujirumors.com. It's coming October 14, 9 AM New York time. So this also has a very cute film simulation dial, just like the X-T50. It will be the most affordable, most pocketable, interchangeable Fuji camera, and with film simulation dial, that's going to be a hit in my opinion, particularly among youngsters. You can see a comparison between the X-M5 and the X-M4 here, just to get an idea how big the camera will be. Of course, there will be a new 1655 that is 30% to something like this, smaller than the older version. And the big rumor of the week from Fujifilm is, I'm not going to tell everything, just watch the previous video. There will be a 1-inch half-frame camera in 2025. Half-frame means that the 1-inch sensor, probably from Sony, 20 megapixel Sony from the RX100, will not be placed horizontally like any other normal camera, but it will be placed vertically, and you can basically frame and shoot vertical images directly on this camera. Probably something that is important for those all creators. That's their name. Creators means Instagrammers, TikTokers, or people that share a lot of story. They can buy this camera and frame in the EVF with that size and have those images right away in vertical modus. And yeah, that's kind of a crazy product, I know, but that's definitely coming. So that's a rumor, of course, but it's coming from super trusted sources, so I'm 100% certain this is coming in 2025. We have the first fixed lens medium format camera coming also in the first half of 2025, again fujirumors.com. Then regarding the new announcement in October, here is the first image of the two new 55 and 100mm 2.8 tilt shift full frame lens, probably coming for Sony E-mount, but also other mounts. Here there's a curious news on sonyalpha about an open source E-mount camera. Actually, that's something I think Sony should actually allow to do for everybody, letting other companies and citizen or groups make E-mount cameras on their own, but I know that Sony doesn't like that. Freefly was a company doing fast shooting cameras with E-mount, and Sony did request Freefly to not do that anymore. Of course, the open source project is different because it's open source made by one person, so Sony cannot really do anything. But I think it's pity that Sony doesn't allow other manufacturers to make E-mount cameras. I think something like, for example, L-mount is doing that would be nice. Moving on, other news is here. The Viltrox 135 might be announced on October the 20th. Here is the first image of the Maker 55mm 1.8 autofocus lens. We really don't need any 50 or 50-ish millimeter lens in the E-mount range. We have like 70 50mm lenses. Petapixel thinks that the Sony A7S series can be saved by the Sony global shutter sensor, and like I told you 2 months ago, my trusted sources didn't share anything about the Sony A7S IV. Nothing at all. All you read on rumor website that I also sometimes posted were coming from news sources, and I always warned you that those news sources or external sources, they're unreliable. My trusted sources didn't share anything. Let's move on let's talk about what's trusted, what's really coming from Sony. Here you see the news about the A1II with same 50 megapixel sensor, new AI features. And today I want to end this quick presentation of all the rumors and news talking about the Sony A1II and the Sony A7V. So what trusted sources confirmed to me is that the A1II and the A7V are coming most definitely within the first or early in the year 2025, so in the first half for sure. Both cameras, so their announcement will be quite close, so they will be on market in early 2025. I don't have the announcement yet. As you know, sometimes Sony does announce a camera 2-3 months ahead. Happened, for example, with the A9 III that was announced in November and then started to ship out in late February. So my hope is that maybe we still get the camera in November by Sony, and then it will ship a couple of months later. But basically, those two cameras are confirmed by trusted sources. So the Sony A7V, A1II. If nothing else happens like this year, where the whole roadmap was postponed because of shortage in parts for cameras, then both cameras will be on market, and by summer next year you definitely will be able to have them for your work. So that's for sure. And now let's come to the last bit of rumor that I'm working on. I'm still working with sources to get the details, but basically Sony, in a very last minute move, officially inside Sony, started to tease, talk about the next announcement, which will happen within the next couple of weeks. And this is going to be a big event. And what I'm trying to get from my sources now slowly is the info about what to expect. And I still don't have a confirmation. Now, this is my speculation. That part is speculation, is that we probably will get the 24-70mm 2.0 GM. That's the lens that should be announced as next. My whole roadmap for 2024 was the 16, 25, the 25, 50G, the 85, 1.4 GM2. I told you all this back in spring, and the fourth lens would, my list that I shared back in spring was the 24-70 2.0, so I guess this will be the next lens, and I think there's a fair chance that it's coming still in November. So that's my best bet. But I still, the Sony A7V will not be announced in November. That is something that is coming in 2025, early 2025. Now I'm holding my fingers, but I don't want to hype you up too much. I'm holding my fingers that the A1II might be announced in November and be available on market, ship out in February, March. So that's what I hope will happen, but I don't want to hype you again about this. The lowest expectation I have is the 24-70 2.0 coming November. That's about it regarding rumors. Canon, Nikon are not really going to announce anything according to some multiple other rumors that I read and I got. So it is quite a slow year for the companies, except Fujifilm, that is always doing a ton of announcement, and next year they will make a crazy announcement with the fixed lens medium format camera and the 1-inch vertical half frame camera. So that's also curious to see, and they will also announce other cameras. So those are not the only two coming. So even if you're more regular aps-c X mount shooter, just follow fujirumors.com and you will see quickly some more info about the next future cameras coming 2025. I will now take your questions. So that was my panoramic of the news. I will now scroll through your comments, highlight them, and try to answer them as best as I can. So let me first scroll back to see where I can start. That's an interesting news. The Sony RX1 successor. Let's see if I can see this. I should be able to see the overlay. Okay, here it is. Sorry, it's downscaled. I will upscale it. So that's another question, but I will scroll back first. DJI full frame DSLR. There is no DSLR. You mean mirrorless? Like I told you, it's not coming September, October. That's an update I got from the sources. So they were afraid that DJI would already announce it now between September, October. The update is nope. I hope that those very wild rumors turn out to be true, because I would love DJI to really change the market, push it, and so let's see if in 2025 this will happen. Let's move on. Any news about the A7S IV? I told you no news about the A7S IV. The FX3 Mark II, I did not get any news, but based on the usual release cycle from Sony, this camera might be announced in 2025. So if I would bet on it coming 2025, but I didn't get any confirmation. And unlike the A7S series, which is in doubt if it will continue or not, the FX3 series will definitely continue. It's very popular, so I definitely expect the FX3 Mark II in 2025, but I hope that sources can confirm it soon. The 24-70mm, I told you that my fingers are crossed that it's coming in November. Now let's move on to other questions. The Sony 85 1.2. I started to get some info about such a lens. I told you back in spring that I only got info on a 85 1.4 GM2, and indeed it has been announced. Now the same sources hint about some future lenses, so let's see if in the next weeks I can share some more details about this and confirm or deny if this lens will arrive in 2025. Any Nikon rumors, nothing at all that I have so far. I didn't get any info about a 200-600mm update lens. The only lens I actually have been told about two new Sony lenses. One is the 24-70 2.0 GM that I hope will be announced in November, but it's a hope, still no confirmation. And I also got an info about another fast zoom lens from Sony, but this one coming 2025. I didn't get any other info about updates, for example, on current lens and something like this. About the A1II, so the only thing the trusted source told me is that it's coming in early 2025. So that's the info I got for the A1II. He didn't share any info about the sensors, the specs, how fast it will be. I shared in my video my best guess, which is that it will not use global shutter, that it could well use the same 50 megapixel sensor because you really don't need a high resolution sensor. And so I can see the updates happening on the software level, on AI features, frame rate probably, and something like this. I expect a minor update, but that's my expectation. All I got from the trusted source, and it's a highly trusted source, is that it's coming on market in early 2025. I hope announcement might even happen November, but that's just my hope. Just like with the A9 III that was announced in November, then was in market in late February. I don't know if the A7S lineup is that. I fear it is, but I don't know yet. Monochrome cameras, I love them. I made a video about this, but I got no info about any possible Sony or other monochrome cameras coming anytime soon. I have no idea about the Sony A7V specs. I only have gotten the past 2 weeks info about the possible exact timing of when it will be available. So, I'm working to double check this because it's coming from one trusted source, but I want to confirm it with another trusted source and then share it with high confidence. But anyway, the camera is coming. Specs, I got nothing so far. The FX3 II with global shutter. To me, as a filmmaker, I studied cinema and so forth, global shutter makes a ton of sense, really a lot. So I would hope the FX3 II would get a global shutter, because I don't care about having 0.3 less stop dynamic range when the dynamic range is already crazy high on all cameras, so you will not really notice it, and you can work around. I mean, that's not really the problem. So the global shutter benefits for me outweigh that small drop in dynamic range that is barely noticeable. So to me, the FX3 II should have the same A9 III global shutter sensor, and that's my guess. My guess is that it will have that sensor. That's my guess, that it is coming, but I got no confirmation on that. The Lumix GX9 rangefinder style camera. No, I got no info about that. I love that camera. I actually loved Lumix compact cameras. I always liked the GM-GF design, also the GX design. I think they're some of the most beautiful cameras on the market. I actually do own the GM1. I have it there. I rarely use it, but when I see it, I really always like that kind of design. I know I will like it even in 20 years from now, but I don't think I don't know if Panasonic will ever do a compact Micro Four Thirds camera again. I read some interviews with Panasonic managers where they say it like that nothing has been decided, that they're open to the idea, so it's not out of the table. So it might happen, but I didn't get any info about that. Yeah, that's a very important info. There was the FX9, FX6 successor that should have been announced in late August, September, and that was coming from a trusted source that never was wrong before. And what happened is, according to the trusted source, the cameras was ready, but Sony decided to not announce it. Now, you can call BS on that, of course, and say like I make it up. I have no problem to tell you no, source is wrong, or I made a mistake. I made mistakes on other rumors that we can discuss later, but on this one I trust the source. For some reason Sony has delayed the launch of this camera, and let's see, folks. That's all I got. I don't know if it will be announced then in January, for example, at the Las Vegas show, which would be a good situation to announce this camera, but I don't know. On the RX1 full-frame compact camera, as you know, I think they should do it, but I got no trusted source telling me that they are really going to do it. I got, again, some other sources telling me that they had chat with some Sony managers saying that they're open to this, or some already say they're already developing this, but nothing, I cannot say something solid yet. And it's pity, because it should have been already here, particularly after the X100 success. But even after the Fujifilm X105 became viral and increased in price 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, so Sony had the time to check out, to see that those kind of compact cameras are popular again. But folks, if I would be head at Sony, I would do a ton of things that you would love, but they think differently, of course. They also have to think about the costs, the risk, and so forth, something that you have to take into consideration. But I think the RX1 R2 body is near perfect. All you have to do is just put a new sensor, better autofocus, larger battery, and so forth. So there would be work to do, but you wouldn't have to reinvent the wheel. So if somebody of Sony is still listening to me, please do it, because you're crazy if you don't do it. One Sony camera surprise by end of the year. The surprise would be, so I told you 10 minutes ago that Sony will still have an announcement this year. So my guess is 2470 2.0 GM. My surprise would be a camera like the fixed lens RX1 R2, but I didn't get any info about this. I would be less surprised if indeed the A1II would be announced, which would make sense. I don't expect now the A7S4 or the A7V. The A7V coming 2025, A7S4, no idea where this camera is, if it will ever be. Any new film cameras? There's some hype now again around film cameras. I love them. I have a couple of film cameras. I have two Mamiya 7 medium format cameras. I have the Leica MP film camera, and I'm also building my own giant camera. It's not a joke. I will make some video in next year about this. I'm making a giant camera to create direct positive images, 1 meter per 1 meter size. So I'm fully into that, but I think that's a niche discussion for few people. Most people here will not care about film, or maybe they have a curiosity about it, but will never buy it. It's so, but anyway, I didn't hear anything about any serious new film camera coming, but maybe, yeah, but I didn't pay attention on it. Let me read some other questions. The question from Kat: why do all want another Sony camera? What would you all need from the next Sony camera? Sony only improves specs, very little useful features. They have hit a wall. Who needs 6K? It's true. It's true that the features of basically nearly every camera are overkill for most people. So having AK or 60p or whatever is probably useful for 0.001% of the people. and so going even 100 megapixel on full frame would not bring benefit to anybody. Would be a headliner for sure, but people wouldn't need it. So it's true that on a technical level there is a sort of wall, and beyond that it's not worth to go. But there are two aspects that Sony still has to improve, in my opinion. Ergonomics. They did it, for example, with the Sony A9 III, so having a Sony A1II, Sony A7V with that Sony A9 III body would bring some benefit. The second aspect is usability. So usability means that the software becomes easier, that you can more easily share your images. Would be nice to have 5G connection directly in camera with a electronic 5G card, for example, so that you should take an image, you like the image, you can share it instantly or backup instantly. So usability still can be improved a lot. Ergonomics with the A9 III body, they are there. Then there is also I might add also some fashion aspect, like a camera like the X106 is popular because of mainly of the three features: film simulation, the hybrid viewfinder, and the look. And Sony has nothing in the market except of the A7C lineup that comes close to the Fujifilm. I think they should go one step further, making a more classic camera, and even add the film simulation like Fujifilm. Name it, of course, differently, but that's something missing at Sony. But I don't know if they're going to do this anytime soon. Micro Four Thirds shooter are still hoping for the Pen F. Me too, but I don't know if they're ever going to do this. I have the feeling they're asleep on a wheel and just trying to cut costs, survive with the OM lineup and the sales they're making in some countries, like for example in Japan and in Germany, they're making still okay sales. And they're too focused on trying to survive, and if they manage to survive, then probably they will try out some new stuff. I hope the Pen F2 comes, but I honestly don't know if it would sell. I love that camera, I love the style, but maybe there's no more market for this. I have no clue, no idea. This is a Sony WOW product. For me, the Sony, I got a rumor about the product that is a bit out of something very cool, but I wasn't I actually got it 2-3 months ago, but I wasn't able to confirm it, so I didn't share it, because sometimes I do share unconfirmed rumors, just because I feel like there's nothing else, so let's drop it out. But this one I didn't feel comfortable to share, because then people hold me accountable and they get mad at me even if I share a rumor where I say this is unconfirmed, not coming from my trusted source. They get mad. This happened just recently with the Almond rumors, where I say that particularly Chinese website, they talk about the S1H2 and this S1R2, and some anonymous messenger sent me also some info about those camera, allegedly info about those cameras. I published them. I warned 100 times the people that this was not coming from trusted sources, and I didn't know what to make out of it, but I knew that there was an announcement happening this week. So I say, like, I know there's an announcement, and that's the rumors that are going around. And trusted sources only last minute confirmed what would be coming, not coming. That's 5D and the 80-40mm lens. I told this the day before. So in that case, I shared the rumors because I had nothing else, and I knew there was an announcement, so let's discuss it. But on the Sony WOW camera, I only will share it if really I get some additional info. Going back to the Lumix S1R2 and the Lumix S1H2, according to trusted sources, are coming in 2025. Now, that Tamron 28-182.8 rumor that I shared and I told was being posted on social networks in China, so not coming from my sources, wasn't true. So, again, it's very difficult. I'm still thinking if I still should talk about those unconfirmed rumors, because it's very difficult, because despite my warnings when sharing them, people still then get mad if they don't mad at me if they don't become true. So sometimes I think like I should make my life easier and make fewer videos and only about trusted rumors, and which I have. For example, the next Sony announcement, I will soon have the details about the announcement date and so forth, and there I can share it, and I know I will be spot on 95 times out of 100. But on those unreliable rumors, I have to think how to warn people better about them, about those kind of rumors. I have no info about Sony aps-c cameras yet, so nothing at all. As you know, I'm a big fan of the A7000, a sort of downscaled version of the A1. Would have made sense to me. They are probably not going to make it. I didn't get any info about Lumix stopping making cameras. I got info about the S1R2 being a clone of the Leica SLR3, so same sensor, same tech inside, just a different body and a lot cheaper. And that's coming from trusted sources, so this camera is coming, that's trusted info, not a guess. So about that I'm sure. Sony medium format camera, I saw that amazing 247 megapixel medium format sensor for industrial purposes made by Sony. So I don't know if it actually can be tweaked or be used on more photographic cameras, because industrial sensors have some quite different, they're close to photographic sensors, but they're not 100% the same thing. But I saw that in some sensors that were listed on other areas then were used on Sony cameras or other cameras, so there is some cross between the industry, in between the various areas of that industry. But I didn't get any info about Sony medium format camera. All I told you from as a reliable info is that I found patents 5-6 years ago about a Sony medium format camera. There were different versions: Sony medium format interchangeable and Sony medium format fixed lens camera with a 35mm equivalent 35mm lens. And those were the two kind of patents I saw, but Sony didn't announce any camera after those patents, so I guess they tested the idea and decided to not make it, but maybe they will change their mind. But I have no info from trusted sources that indeed that happened and that we might get a Sony medium format camera. Panasonic will not release anything before the end of the year. The update I can give you is that Panasonic will have a major press event at the CES show in Las Vegas in January 7. They're really making something big fuss about this. But you know, their mostly focus is on the batteries or home appliances. But maybe they will announce a camera there. They did it in the past, that they announced cameras at that event. So on 7th of January, the next Panasonic announcement. So fingers crossed we are getting for example, the S1R2. I have no info about the pricing of the A7V. I'm only close to the info about the exact market release of the camera, and as soon as I have it, that I will share. I'm scrolling down, sorry if I have those pauses, but I'm skipping all the questions about that I already answered previously. S1H2, the S1H2 should be coming 2025. I know Viltrox is making a 50mm 1.4 full frame autofocus lap lens that will be announced in 2025. That I know, but 1.2 I don't know. And also Sigma 5140, I didn't hear anything about this. I'm scrolling down. Okay, folks. Those were all the questions that I found. Something I forgot to tell at the beginning of the video: if you want to send in a question, you have to be a subscriber. It's something I do because I see last time many people putting a lot of questions. It became quite a chaos to read for me all your comments. So only subscribers can comment. So for the next live stream, you're kindly invited to subscribe to the channel so that I will see your question. And no more questions about rumors. I have no info about the Sigma 1424 or 2, and no info about A7V, nothing. The FX9 I answered 10 minutes ago, and the FX30 Mark II I didn't get any info at all. So yeah, Fujifilm will not do full frame for sure. So I'm clearing here now the questions. And folks, that's all I have to share today. So that was a quick live stream, 42 minutes in, and I tried to do my best to answer your questions, and I hope that in my next videos I will be able to share more info about the next Sony announcement coming in 4 or 5 weeks, so pretty soon. And I'm looking forward to 2470 2.0 if it's coming, but there is a chance that there might be also a A1II, or yeah, that's more or less. I would be very surprised if they would announce a fixed lens full frame RX1 camera. I would be positively surprised, but I should get a confirmation within the next 10 days about the exact announcement date and the exact products that will be announced. So that will be a hot video that is coming on this channel. So again, subscribe and hit the notification button to not miss that one. And for the rest, we are wrapping up this year. It's more or less done. No exciting Canon Nikon camera. Yeah, Fujifilm will have the announcement next week, but that's about it. And in 2025 there will be some exciting stuff. We already talked about Fujifilm cameras. There is now rumors even about Canon making a retro full frame camera for 2025. I told you the Sony A7V is definitely coming 2025, and the A1II will be on market in 2025. Hopefully announcement even in 1 month, but it will be on market in early 2025. And that's about it. So nothing. I can finally take a pause from making those all that rumor work, and in my next videos let's talk Sony, and probably even a live stream just right before the Sony announcement, in the hope that finally they will wake up and announce something exciting, something that is not the ZV-E10 II. That's the only camera we got so far from Sony this year, which is pretty unusual. Usually they have 3-4 cameras, so this is quite strange. But hopefully this will change with the next announcement happening in November. That's it, folks, for today. Thanks for being here.